Greetings and welcome to this week's special episode of UC Weekly News. I'm David Danto and I'm with Dave Michels.
Hello, Dave.
Hey, Dave.
We're in Barcelona at Integrated Systems Europe, ISE 2025. Why are we here?
Well, that's the Fira right behind us. We are going to be talking about the future of meetings and our pick hits, things that we didn't want you to miss, that we wanted to make sure that you saw and you paid attention to, that we saw at the show here, because we really think they're very important to the future of the industry and the future of meetings.
Things that deserve more attention.
Of course, there were a lot of other announcements here at ISE2025 in the UC space. We've put all of them inside the TalkingPointz Insider Report. You can subscribe to that at TalkingPointzWithAZ.com. And we'll also cover a few of them in part 2 of our Pick Hitz coverage of ISE coming up in about a week. So you're going to see us walking around the halls, you're going to see us talking to people, you're going to get some demos of equipment, you're going to get our opinions. It's going to be all over the place. We'll try and give you some feelings for what it was like for actually attending ISE. Stay with us, it's going to be a good show.
So David, part of our intent with Pick Hitz was to identify some companies that really deserve some attention, and you called out AudioCodes just recently in an article, and you compared them to Superman.
Well, to Clark Kent. You know, honestly, I hear AudioCodes. I've heard the name for years, and what I was thinking about,
I mean, like DSP codec.
Yeah, you know, when I hear that, I think of like 12-year-olds sitting under desks eating chiclets, typing code all the time. You don't think of them as a hardware manufacturer. I knew they made SBCs, but who makes the SBCs? Who uses SBCs? It's such an inelegant product. You put it in and it connects your phone calls. Congratulations. But, you know, you take a second look at them and you realize they're making some pretty innovative hardware around voice, VoIP phones, around video conferencing, their collaboration with Microsoft on Teams. It's really amazing
I believe on Teams, they probably have the biggest portfolio for Teams hardware.
Well, let's go take a look. Let's have him tell us about it.
Hi, I'm Jason White. I'm the EMEA Marketing Manager, and I'm responsible for all of this.
You're responsible for all this. What is all this? Where are we?
All this. So we're at ISE 2025. We're in Hall 1. This is booth 1D170. And this year I'm really proud of actually what we've been able to achieve and what we've put together. Because as an organisation, we really embraced the unified comms or unified communications element of ISE. This is new to ISE. They did some last year, but it's expanding, it's growing. So rather than just come to ISE with meeting devices and IP phones, we've really actually brought our entire kind of portfolio to show you actually how that whole solution environment has changed massively. Like with the inclusion of Voca, which is a contact center, meeting insights, your business intelligence software. So that's, obviously improves the meeting productivity.
You do have one of the widest portfolios of solutions in the industry.
Yes.
And you're not one of the loudest. You don't boast as much as other people do. So start boasting. Tell everybody about it.
We do need to boast about it. We do. And I think it's because historically we've always been quite transparent to end customers because of the way that we work, because of the way we operate through partners. But I think it's about time that we started really educating customers on how great AudioCodes are and everything we kind of do within our portfolio. We're really uniquely positioned as an organisation, and I do say to people, when we're asked who's your competitor, well, I can pick competitors for one element or two elements perhaps of what our portfolio, but it's really difficult to say who else compares to AudioCodes when it comes to a complete multicast solution for your complete requirement, and that does start with really the platform. We don't talk enough about live platform, which is kind of the underlying platform that all of these things kind of sit under or sit on, if you like, and there's some kind of hidden heroes there in terms of device management and One Voice Operations Center, which have been with us for years, but they now form part of that live platform solution, and it allows you to manage all of your devices, including devices that actually aren't even AudioCodes.
So my name is Nati Davidi and I am managing the devices for AudioCodes. Today, most of our companies that we have deployed our devices starting with a single camera on the edge of the room. Okay? Now they are looking, when we are coming out with multiple camera support that we'll discuss in a minute, okay, they can add another camera. So with all the innovation coming, multiple camera, more AI approach, we believe that having a modular approach that will start from a little bit above the small room, okay, from 8 people and above, you want to have the ability to adapt to new technology, new cameras, multiple cameras, CPUs that are more aligned to AI. So we know that the modular approach was mainly into the large rooms with windows, okay? So we took a different approach. One, we are taking the Android up to auditorium, so we have customers with auditorium of 50 people with that modular approach. And we are taking the modular approach even to smaller rooms that you can either adapt the installation or have different type of setups between camera and audios devices. And we believe that this is more a wide approach to adapt new technology without replacing everything in the room. You can grow and you can also adapt new technologies, okay? The right one is that currently everybody is trying to adapt to multiple cameras because you want to see the eyes of the people. So instead of having only single camera, we're now having another camera on the table or dual camera. So that approach may be started on a large room, but why 8 people or 10 people cannot enjoy that the same way? Okay, we are talking about a hybrid. Most of the rooms are becoming smaller, but the technology and the experience that the users are looking does not say, oh, in the large room I want to be seeing, and in a medium room, no, I can cover with and a camera only in the edge of the room. So that modular approach enables them to enjoy the technology. It's moving in all sizes of rooms.
Tell us about Android. Android's a very confusing subject going on now for collaboration.
Yes. One, we have taken the approach to be what we call Android first. So we are focusing even though that we are having and also a Windows-based solution, most of our focus in terms of innovation and products is based on Android. So we are covering phones, panels outside of the room, small meeting room with a bar, and the modular approach that can scale up to auditorium with 50 or more people with the same Android version. Now with Microsoft, we even took that further with AOSP that we have came out in late 2024, that again, not against Google, but there was a lot of confusion by customers that when they want to manage the Android platform, they had to enable in the beginning all kinds of Google tools to understand how to protect them. And with Microsoft, with AOSP, we implemented all the underlying layers that enable that you can now in Intune, which was designed for Windows, but now is supporting Android devices, define all kinds of profiles and security rules and protect without enable any Google tools. And the next evolution is working with Microsoft on MDEP, which is a customized Microsoft version, you can say Android enterprise grade version.
I want to ask you about what you announced here. AI for everyone? What's going on here?
So what we've actually, I mean, you're probably aware that we've had Meeting Insights for a few years now.
Yep.
And what we've actually done is taken Meeting Insights and almost created a little brother called AI Summary. And effectively what this allows you to do is, buy a meeting room device, okay? You don't need to get in touch with your security and comms team or anything like that. It's self-contained, which is one of the key elements to this device. And it comes shipped with an AI summary and a Meeting Insights bot actually on the device.
So let me be clear about this. You're licensing the room, not the user?
Yes, it will be user on one device, okay?
Okay.
Now, the idea is, and it's because, a lot of enterprises at the moment they're trying to still understand practical use cases for AI and how that sits within their business. What we're actually doing is saying, look, you need meeting room devices, have AI summary on a meeting room device, okay, completely free, come shipped with the device for 6 months, and that'll help you to understand and see the benefits of having these AI summaries from all of your meetings. I think the key here is, what we're not trying to do is compete with anybody, okay? What we're actually trying to do is complement, okay? And it is a complementary solution. Okay. Your power users might need Teams Premium. So an organization might say, right, those guys can have Teams Premium. Your knowledge workers might just need full-blown meeting insights. So they can just have meeting insights. And then admins and anybody else might just need the AI summary. Those people that are doing the occasional meeting, and it's just that kind of blended approach, I think, which is going to be really attractive to a lot of large organizations. They're not forced either way. And by us seeding the market almost with AI summary, it allows them to take that first step into, okay, well, we're going to adopt AI. We're now going to have AI summaries. We're going to improve productivity from the meeting space. And then they can actually work out where they go from there.
There was a lot to take in at that AudioCodes stand. It was pretty impressive.
There was, and you know, I don't want to misstate this because I did that once before when we were reporting on this. They are doing something very innovative. You know, in order to use Copilot with Teams, in order to get those meeting summaries, every user has to have their own license. And what they're doing with their own version of AI is they are doing room summaries licensed based on the room. So I can have 10,000 people in my organization, but 5 rooms, and just buy the license from them, not Copilot, but from them for 5 rooms, and they're giving it away for free for 6 months with every purchase. So that's a real MTR difference between them and all the other people.
That is a big difference, but the other difference that I just can't get over how comprehensive that portfolio is. And we didn't even cover everything in our coverage. I mean, the phones that really stood out to me. I mean, they're making Microsoft Teams phones. They're making SBCs. They're making the Android solutions. They're making everything. But tell me about those phones.
Well, the phones are either Microsoft Teams or Zoom. As opposed to their video products, they've got it covered on both of them. They're very easy to use. They're very easy to set up. And what they told me, and what Jay was saying, is they'll get people who buy their SBCs saying, you know what, we like this so much. Can we get IP phones from you? You know, we like your IP phones so much. Can we get MTRs and rooms from you? They now have document reading cameras. They have other devices as well. You know, the quality of their portfolio is what makes them grow.
And they're not made in certain countries, which concern a lot of people. Yeah. So I think that's an important thing too. But yeah, but let's talk about that Android. They've got a pretty comprehensive Android story too.
Yeah, they jumped on board MDEP very quickly. They shared code back and forth with the Microsoft people, so they're really pretty much on top of what's going on with that. And their strategy is modular. And to really understand that, it's like if you buy a small room bar and then all of a sudden you need to grow into a bigger room, you either have to repurpose that room bar or throw it out. With them, you're buying the module, you can just put in a bigger camera, put in a bigger peripheral. It almost goes back to the old days of separate components, but everything fits with everything else.
It really is a great story, and I feel great about highlighting them in our Pick Hitz program because they really deserve a little more attention than they're getting, in my opinion.
Yeah, people need to look at those products just along with some of the other big guys in the industry because it's worth the time taking a look at it.
So David, what confuses me is a few years ago, I guess pre-pandemic, the whole industry was talking about huddle rooms.
Huddle, get closer.
Yeah. But so they've dropped the huddle term. Huddles are over.
Right.
But it looks like small rooms are in.
Yeah,
the new big thing.
Small is the new big thing here at the show. We had new products in the BYOD space from Cisco and from Neat and from Barco talking about what they're doing with BYOD. And we had one of our Pick Hitz, which was the Jabra Panicast 40, the new little brother to the Panicast 50.
That's like the only video bar I think with multiple cameras.
Yeah. So we're not talking about huddling anymore because after the pandemic, nobody ever wants to huddle. But we are now trying to still fill that inverted pyramid that a lot of analysts were talking about, which is the more of the smaller rooms that we all happen to need wherever we're working in a hybrid environment.
But triangles are equilateral, and so how do you invert it?
Well, it's inverted because the point is aiming down, and the wide part. Which
Oh, that's your point. It's pointing down.
That's the point pointing down.
All
exactly.
right.
Selfies using the hub to take a picture of themselves. Good thinking, guys. You must be Dutch.
So our next stop here at ISE2025 is going to be going down to take a look at what the Barco ClickShare people are doing.
This one is really intriguing me because, unbeknownst to me, Barco is a leader in meeting rooms. I mean, I know the video space, but they've been at this for quite some time in the meeting room.
Yeah, they've had 12 years to do this, and you know, people who only know their product basically know that it's a button, a dongle you install into a computer and you can share your screen, but they do so much more than that now, and they're working so closely with Microsoft. We're going to have a conversation with Gauthier, who's their product manager, to talk about what some of these features are, and then you and I can talk about it afterwards.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I like your shirt.
Oh.
My name is Gauthier. I'm a lead product manager for Barco ClickShare.
My name is Vincent Schaff. I'm a product manager lead at Microsoft.
So, Gauthier, thank you very much for joining us here. We really want to talk about the advances that have taken place between the Barco ClickShare product line and between Microsoft and using Microsoft and BYOD. And I know you're going to demonstrate some of that for us in the stand that we're going to look at. Let's talk about it in general. First, how long has the ClickShare product been out on the market?
The ClickShare product, wow, we started with wireless presentation. I think it's like 12 years back already. But slowly but surely, we've been moving into the conferencing space with the launch of ClickShare Conference in 2020. And as such, we've been continuing to innovate in that space and then bring out products for mainly BYOD, either screen sharing or wireless conferencing.
And we're not talking about it here, but don't minimize your really good ClickShare bar that came out into the space. That's
indeed something we launched last year. It's been quite successful so far. Yes.
Okay, so my understanding is that if you're using a full codec in a video conference room, that you have all the capability in an MTR room. You can do voice attribution. You know who the speakers are. You've got all the detail built in. But when you're using BYOD, you're attaching a peripheral to your notebook, and you weren't getting any of those good features, not attribution, not management. And you guys have changed all that, right?
Yes, indeed. In the past, I would say BYD has been the little brother of MTRs. But since recently, Microsoft really adopted this way of working, this style, and has been improving the user experience for those working that way, but also for the IT admins providing additional insights and so on.
So what are the top things that the Barco ClickShare product for conferencing brings to the BYOD environment?
Well, it brings ease of use in terms of using, and no cables, no wires on the table, anything. Just a plug that everybody knows, plug it into your PC. It will automatically give you the peripherals in a wireless fashion to your PC. Everything happens on USB level. There's nothing that you need to do, no buttons to press, no configurations to change. And when you start a call, you use these peripherals as if they were connected to your own device.
So how this works is very easily. This is the content I'm sharing right now, but obviously I want to share it into the call that I'm having. So I will be going into my Teams client, but it obviously works with other UC providers as well. I can simply join the call, and you will see that this is part of the collaboration that we've been doing with the folks at Microsoft. By default, your audio will be switching to room audio, and it will automatically recognize the meeting room that you are in. So there's a couple of goodies that we've been working with Christian and the team to make sure that this works and this is also enabled. By doing so, by default, the right peripherals will be chosen into the meeting room, so the end user cannot, by mistake, or choose different peripherals and get into trouble when he or she joins the meeting. Once you then join the conference call, you will see that it will automatically disable voice isolation, and if you enable the annotation and so this is obviously a ClickShare capability where we isolate the ClickShare call that's on your device and be able to only share this into the room. So one of the cool things already here as well is that once you start a transcription, because of the voice enrollment that you've done in the past, you will be able to allocate or to pinpoint who was talking at which moment and to actually get a right transcription of the people that were present in the meeting room.
And then, Christian, what Microsoft has done to support that, especially with the Barco product, is the capability of identifying that you're not just using your notebook anymore. You're now using a BYOD system in the room. And how does that change the environment?
So it's even a little bit broader, right? So we really looked at what are people using in the video rooms today, right? They either use other OEMs, just maybe a speaker, Barco, or camera, or better product already like the Barco says, right? What we really try to do with BYD is to help people with the struggles that they have, because we like to really have everyone to have a good Teams experience regardless of where they're joining, right? So some of the improvements that you will later see is like selecting automatically the right devices for users in those BYOD spaces to make sure it's potentially not their laptop camera or their laptop microphone that tries to pick up the room. Together with features like voice isolation, which is also from IT, we introduced ourselves a little bit of a new problem now. People go for voice isolation, Teams optimizes for my voice. But it means no one could hear it, right? So really then also to ensure to turn such features off in that moment and optimize for more of a room setup here as well, right? So really on the user side to improve the experience, to optimize it a little bit more for a multi-user setup, while Teams usually is really focused in those scenarios on having the single user experience. Now we can detect that the user will select, or we automatically select the device.
So you just told us about a couple of the features that you have in terms of ease of use, but there are some new features that have come into the product, multiple screen sharing, optimization. Tell us how that works.
Absolutely. So we constantly use or look at how people want to use the system, how they want to collaborate, and especially with dual display room setups. People wanted to utilize these in different manner. They're used to walking up to their desk, having a docking station. If there's two displays there, they're usable. With the ClickShare, there was only a limitation that one person could only share one piece of content onto the screen. So we changed that recently with one of the many app updates that we do, that you are now able to share two pieces of content from one PC onto a dual display setup in a meeting room. So you can show your PowerPoint with whatever notes or Excel or other data or figures that you want to share. And you can still use your laptop to take your notes or to do something else in the meantime.
And that doesn't get shared. Then if you're in a room with multiple devices, you can share from multiple devices simultaneously, side by side, compare one person's notes to another and see the changes.
Absolutely. For a long time, ClickShare has been able to put two or more pieces of content next to each other. You can share with either the buttons, with the ClickShare app, with AirPlay, Chromecast, Miracast, whatever you want or whatever you like, and have these pieces of content next to each other.
Now, I don't want either of you to reveal anything that you shouldn't be revealing because it's new, but neither one of you are done, right? There are many changes and many new features that are coming into these product families going forward, right?
Absolutely. The world never stops. It's both our users want different things, and we constantly monitor how people are using the system. We're adapting how it changes. So definitely a lot of exciting stuff is coming, both from our side, but obviously also from Christian's side.
Yeah, I think for us, one of the drivers, I would say, also to do a little bit something about BYOD and improve the experience was really with getting into the area of AI, like with the Copilot AI recap, right, where the BYOD scenarios would really fall too far behind. Right? So it would kind of like create troubles with Copilot. And as you will see later in the demo, there's really classical scenarios I usually have in my deck, and basically an example where it would say maybe the two of us are arguing around in a meeting, which is the best city in the world, just to make something easy, right? Maybe I would say it's New York. Maybe you say, what's your favorite city?
I would say Bruges in Belgium.
Okay. But without the BYOD feature that we created, Copilot would say, that changed my mind, right? Because everything would get attributed to Christian, and maybe Copilot would say, hey, Christian said first New York is the best city, but then changed his mind to that other city, right? Because Teams was not able to understand that there were actually two people. So now with the solution and with speaker attribution coming in, they can fix that, right? So Copilot AI recap is able to understand there were two different people. Obviously, the city example is a little bit more of a funny example, but it can be critical business scenarios where people leave it. So really also to unblock ourselves. So from
a Microsoft Teams admin standpoint, you're now getting room utilization data from BYOD environments, so we weren't necessarily doing that before.
Correct. So what we're doing with BYOD all up is that we use the USB peripherals, right? We have a unique identifier for that, and you can hook them up in the flow management portal, right? That works for every USB device. that can be just the camera, just the speaker, or just the display in a room, right? The additions that Barco can do in addition here is because they have already a smarter device in the room, so it can provide a little bit more information and additional management via their solution.
All right, so if people want to get more information to find out how some of these Barco products work, where do you suggest they go?
Well, the first source of information is barco.com, but they can also look in the YouTube channel ClickShare by Barco, and of course on LinkedIn.
And more information about Microsoft Teams?
Well, we have the Microsoft Teams page. I think a super good source is the Microsoft Teams blog. So we need to stay up to date what is coming new in the MTR world as well as that's right.
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
So, Dave, I thought that was pretty impressive from Barco. And I remember when I was in IT that we had to have a technician available if an executive was having a video meeting. We had to have somebody there just in case, because the keyboards were huge, the controls were huge. I have never seen such an intuitive and easy experience. I'm feeling bad for the IT folks. This is bad news for the IT folks.
Well, bad news, but it's also good news as well, because a lot of companies want to use BYOD solutions, and with the BYOD solutions, they're kind of a bastard stepchild in the industry. You wouldn't get any data from utilization. It would be hooked to an individual's computer, so that the Teams meeting would think that it's just that computer's user. And now, with what Barco is doing, they're opening that entire ecosystem up for Teams, so I can use my computer, but it can work as a room device. It can give that voice attribution.
And that's what's so amazing. We've seen these cycles in our industry, and BYOD for a while was a bad thing, right? People were like banning it. We're not going to allow BYOD. But now in this hybrid work environment, people are really expected to bring their laptop to and from home and work, and bring it in and getting it to work in a meeting room, not with just the webcam and standalone, but with all the toys the facility has to offer. Is becoming quite easy.
And even when Gautier was talking to us about it and demonstrating it for us, I still think they're minimizing the impact of this little dongle that has a button on it that's color-coded to tell you when it's on or not. It is doing some really heavy lifting. It is taking the Teams video from the other side of the meeting and bringing it to the display. It's taking the Teams audio and bringing it to the display. It's taking the room audio and the room video and bringing it to the Teams meeting, and it's handling sharing of content, multiple shares, all wirelessly.
And it shows the evolution, because when they started, it was just the video content.
Just sharing the content on the screen.
So they really evolved the platform, and that's why they've been at it for 12 years, as you said. They've really evolved that. They continue to evolve it. And now that they're marrying that with video conferencing, it's a very, very comprehensive solution.
And they didn't show us, they also have a ClickShare bar, which does all the conferencing as well as the ClickShare products, which I've used, I've demonstrated. We actually have a review on TalkingPointz.com. You can take a look at how well that product works. So very impressed with those guys.
So Dave, I just have one concern about what I saw in that demo. And the dongle, which you just described, is a very powerful device, but a lot of meeting solutions are moving away from dongles. Like, you shouldn't have to have a dongle. Do you think that the Barco model still applies?
Well, it's a stigma that they're going to have to get past. The idea that there's this cute little device, so people might leave the conference room and take it with them, or whether or not you want to have something that's wireless in the room, so go dongle free. I think for the power that thing has, and for the capability that it has to have outside visitors that are not on the network be part of the meetings, I think that the trade-off is worthwhile. And if you need to get one or two dongles that get lost during the course of the year, so be it. I'm sure they'll help you with it.
You just touched on a key point there about the visitors, because I'm always a visitor. I show up at enterprises all the time, and nobody knows the code to the guest Wi-Fi. The guest Wi-Fi is the wrong Wi-Fi, and this whole thing, this whole dance we go through to get connected into a meeting room like that. So the dongle really solves that.
Yeah, it's called ClickShare. They have Love Meeting as their sign down there, and that's the reason for it. You plug it in and you use it, and it's easy. And it's the video version of the easy button.
There you go.
So we're at the FIRA this morning on day 3, and the next stop's all the way in the back of the hall down there. We're going to go take a look at Neat and see what Neat is doing.
I'm looking forward to seeing Neat. They've always got such elegant products.
Yeah, the comment that it just works and it's comfortable. What they've been doing, I think, they've certainly captured a lot of the market around the most typical use cases, the bars in their rooms. But now apparently they're starting to spread out on the sides, something for a little smaller and something for a lot bigger. So it's going to be interesting to see what they've got.
Let's go take a look.
I'm Jeremy Lampard, a product specialist at Neat.
I'm Marcus Hoy-Petersen. I'm Senior Director of Portfolio Vision and Strategy at Neat.
Thank you, gentlemen. So we're here to talk today about the Neat experience and what's going on with Neat. As David
Wait, I thought we were doing large rooms here.
We are.
Oh, okay.
But it's the Neat experience, which goes through all rooms. And Neat is very well known for the majority of use case in video. A lot of very elegant, easy to use products, simple, Zoom compatible, Teams compatible, other platforms as well. But there hasn't been a story around smaller installations. There hasn't been a story around larger installations until, we started talking about it recently in the last few weeks. So it's first of all, let's just get that out of the way. What is the new small room story?
We now have a solution for the smaller space where we have the bar and we take away the pad and we can run it as a BYOD solution for smaller spaces.
And the name of that is?
Neat Select.
Neat Select. So Neat Select is essentially either bar Gen 1 or bar Gen 2 without the Neat pad, and it runs as a BYOD, but it still has all the Neat Pulse management capabilities, right?
That's correct, yeah. So you can manage everything like your software updates, you can do all your boundaries, select your framing modes and everything like that. So you can run it on a large enterprise level, but for all of these, smaller devices, the smaller
So
spaces.
that's pushing the envelope of your solutions down to the smaller spaces. But now we need to talk about the larger spaces, larger than the typical conference room. Why don't you give us some of the progression around how that worked out? First of all, the distributed audio, and then now you've got some new products and new things as well. So talk us through some of that.
So with Neat Center, we built really smart infrastructure to send media back and forth between devices. So what we're seeing here is how these things start to come together, how we can take audio and video streams from different points and mix them together for an experience that unlocks the larger space. One take on that is the presenter mode, where if someone walks up in front of a screen, you could be captured by a Neat Center, showing that person in front of, in a presenter mode. You'll also see that later sort of trickle down into capturing people that you want to pay close attention to in the meeting room. And in general, we're putting sources from more places together to create a better large room experience.
So let's actually parse that out just for a second. We're actually looking at the Neat Center now behind you on the camera, and it's taking pictures of all of us here. And the interesting thing is, for what you're talking about for presenter mode, most AV installations used to have to put a camera on the back wall on the opposite side. Now with the center table, you've had this for a while now, you can put it at the center table, people can walk into the room and that camera captures them, so you don't need that presenter camera. But what's relatively new now is you can now lock that in and keep it on in your software, right?
Yep.
But is that a Neat specific feature on the center room?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about how we can define boundaries, it's about how we can position them in different spaces, and then it's all about how we can add these different devices, right? So if we look at a traditional meeting room, perhaps, you can have a single unit like a board, you can choose to add a center, choose to add a pad for their video capabilities, audio capabilities, control, and then we can bring that into a larger space environment as well.
Very modular design, but the problem with what you're describing, I think I found the weakness of your strategy here, is that if you've got the Neat board as an all-in-one, and you're using it to look at the video, like we are right now, but then if somebody wants to draw on the board, you lose the board. So
yeah, so I mean, we're showing a few different scenarios and stories here, aren't we, at ISE? So we've got a big video wall here, for which our friends at Sharp NEC have provided us, basically, and we're showing a scenario where we've effectively stolen one of our Neat Board Pros from a larger space, wheeled it in, a single cable into that large video wall. We have all of our video participants then under the camera.
What kind of single cable?
HDMI cable, single HDMI cable going into that larger space. So that could be a big display projector or something like that. But I didn't need any training to do that. I was going to plug that in, and it means all my video participants are now under the camera, got the good eye line, the audio is coming from them. When we're addressing them, we're looking towards them. But everything they're presenting at the far end is coming up on that large display. And we can obviously change that. And we can add more devices with things like Zoom Companion Mode or Neat Share. Let's say we brought in another device, okay? We could even bring in 3 other devices. With companion mode, portable companion mode, you could bring them in, you can link them together just with the pairing code like you would do with sharing. And then that means that you would essentially have 4 different camera angles going into that space. You would have the interactive whiteboard available to everybody who's touching that interactive whiteboard. When it stops, someone starts sharing, that's mirrored across the estate, but then you can still have participants available on its front of room device as well. And it's flexible, it's adaptable, you can scale it on the size of meeting that you want as well.
And scale is interesting, and partnerships are interesting. You have the intelligence in the system to understand if the closest microphone to you is the Neat Center, it uses that one. If the closest microphone is the Neat Pad, it's that one. And if you're in a space that's bigger than can be handled by the center and the pad, now you're partnering with other manufacturers like Shure and some other ones to really bring it into that ecosystem to cover the larger room, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's
right.
How does it determine which microphone to use? Is that visual or audio?
It's audio based.
So, yeah, I was going to say, so natively within Neat, you know, in this scenario, we have a front of room device, a center, and a pad. Hopefully throw those down the room, and however the loudest, you know, local source is, what the clearest source, depending on which way you're facing, we'll be using that microphone selection. And then, like you mentioned, with partners like Shure, then you've got options. You could bring in lapel microphones, handheld microphones, ceiling tile microphones, distributed audio, things like that. That's how we can approach these much more advanced multi-use spaces where you may want a bit more of a fixed solution, as it were.
What's relatively new is the HDMI out of the board, correct? Your board 65 was introduced a few months ago.
Yep.
And now it's got that second HDMI out so that you can feed the large screen. Tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah. So yeah, basically, you know, it's multi-use. So you could have it as that second display, so your content on there and your participants on the primary board, or we have nice little feature toggles, you know, within the system settings where we can mirror everything that's happening on there. So if you wanted to have everything that's happening on your board, your whiteboarding or your interactivity going up on the primary display as well for the main focal point of the room, we can do that as well. So it's just keeping the choice there.
So there now really isn't a reason to use anyone other than Neat, regardless of the size of the installation.
We like to think so, yeah.
I think so.
So we've made a defined boundary for the stage area. So basically, as soon as we both walk out of that, we should get like a wide shot of the stage.
Oh, actually.
There we go. So we basically get an audience shot from the perspective of the audience, and then we get a defined kind of wide shot of the stage. So and then when we get near, and then this today is being presented like it's a single stream, it's a T2C. But we are also able to present it as 2 separate streams. So then users can choose which one they want to, or we can choose which one stream later.
And if you walk into the frame with Dave, we get a second one there, right?
No, it's all kind of live.
And is there a way to identify you're the CEO, so you always stay on? Is there anything with software to do that?
That's what we're talking about for the future. Different levels, VID, the functionality, speaker tracks. Yeah.
And if you wanted to, you could turn that on so I could be picked up as well. It's just not set up for that right now.
Yeah, we're not doing that for this show.
Right.
But yeah, absolutely. So we can be in regular surgery mode as it is. So we can set it up to be like a presenter device. Yeah.
So we just came from the Neat booth, and I gotta say, Dave, the Scandinavians love their Lego-style modular approach.
Yes, the modularity there is very interesting. It also takes the Neat products, which are typically in the middle, and it lets them grow into those larger rooms that we saw.
And that's why we put them down in the large room category, because they can really scale up now.
That's our pick, and it doesn't have to just be one size fits all. They can use their center for microphones, they can use their pad for microphones, they can go with a partner like Shure and put other microphones in there. They can get the extra display that we saw. It's really a great story, and definitely that's why it was one of our pick hits, because it's something that you shouldn't miss. You should take a second look at it.
We didn't even see everything in the booth either.
No, we just saw a couple of things. Good company. So that's it for episode 1 of UC Weekly News. Join us for part 2 next week, where we're going to be talking about the future of hybrid working.